This lesson's going to outline the basics of English ATAR Made Simple. With these basics, you'll be equipped to properly complete the course. And if you can properly complete the course, I guarantee you that you will easily pass English ATAR.
Everything you need to easily pass English ATAR. English ATAR Made Simple. Powered by Saints Coaching.
Lesson objectives. Firstly, we will define the key terms used in the course, then we'll discuss some housekeeping matters. After that, we'll explain the PEAR methodology. Then we'll describe the proof of concept, how I was able to validate that the PEAR works. Then we'll outline what the actual methodology is. After that, we'll explain how to do the course, English ATAR Made Simple. Then we'll explain best practices for watching the video lessons. After that, I'll explain the best practices for actually answering the activities that accompany most of the video lessons. Then we'll discuss course certificates. Very exciting. And after that, we will highlight the key takeaway from this lesson. First up, the key terms used in the course. What have we got? Well, the first one, which is, as you can see, quite a mouthful, is the Saints Coaching Course and Community Platform, aka just the platform. What is this? It's basically the website that you'll be visiting to watch the course and engage in the community. It's the thing that you'll be using whenever you log into my website, use your login credentials, and the thing that you'll be on when you're doing this course. You're on the platform right now. Next up, English ATAR Made Simple, or EAMS, or might start calling it EAMS. Yeah, let's do that, EAMS. What is EAMS? It is the online course and all the resources that come with it, and I'll explain the nature of those resources shortly. What about the Pass English ATAR Roadmap, aka the PEAR? What is that? Well, the PEAR is the proprietary method that I've created to ensure that you pass English ATAR. The way that the PEAR and EAMS relate to one another is that the PEAR is the framework that EAMS uses. Stone, not stoner, stone. What is a stone? A stone is one part of the PEAR, and the PEAR has 3 stones or 3 parts. Each stone has an overarching objective. For instance, one objective might be to understand how to complete each section of an English ATAR exam. Then each stone comprises at least one module. So the stones and then the modules within the stones are designed to get you from point A, which is Struggle City, to point B, which is Pass English ATAR Island. More on this in the next lesson. What is a module? Module. Say that 50 times in a row. Module, 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 module. A module is one section of a stone. As you may know already, EAMS contains 6 modules, and each module has a broad theme. So module 3, for instance, the theme of that module is the comprehending section of the exam. If we were to divide each module even further, we could say that each module has several lessons. That brings us to our next point. What is a lesson? Might sound like a silly question, but it's really important to understand what each lesson comprises in English ATAR Made Simple, because the terminology does matter, and I'll be using this terminology throughout the entire course. So if I'm using a certain term and you think it means one thing, but it actually means another, we're going to be on a different page throughout your entire journey, and we don't want that. So what is a lesson? A lesson is one chapter of a module. Each lesson focuses on a specific topic, or in some cases, specific topics. Later on, I'll be discussing why I believe it's really important to learn in bite-sized chunks, in little pieces, because they're easier to digest. But in some instances in this course, I will be discussing 2 or more different topics in the same lesson. I haven't done that just to overwhelm you. I've done that quite the opposite to make it easier for you, because I have determined that those specific concepts are actually easier to understand together. What I'm trying to say is, when you see a lesson, say in module 2, that has several different concepts referred to it in the title of that lesson, don't shy away from it. Actually lean into it, because it means that you'll be able to learn several different concepts in the one lesson. You'll be hitting multiple different birds with one stone. So it's actually something that you should feel good about rather than to be overwhelmed by. Having multiple different topics in one lesson is really the exception to the rule, though. For the most part, you're going to see just one topic per lesson. For instance, there's a lesson dedicated to voice in Module 2. What about the elements of each lesson? There are two main elements in each lesson. The first one is the video lesson, and that is the thing that you're watching now. And as we can see, it's the video you watch about a given topic. So you're currently watching a video called the English ATAR Made Simple Starter Pack, or the EAMS Starter Pack. The video lesson is what I think of as the primary element of a lesson. It is the thing that teaches you the content. One video lesson typically includes a PowerPoint presentation. Really, I'm actually using Canva, but PowerPoint, whatever. A PowerPoint presentation like what you're watching, and then a talking head of basically me in the corner of the video. That's the first element of a given lesson. What's the second element? The second element is the PDF. What does that include? Almost every PDF has two sections. And the first section is the study notes. Where are the study notes in the PDF? They're the section at the beginning of a PDF for a given lesson. I think of the study notes as the secondary element of a lesson. It's the thing that complements what you watch in the video. What you'll notice is the study notes that accompany a video lesson are basically just a PDF version of the PowerPoint presentation. The study notes start from the lesson objectives heading of a given PDF and then end where the activity objectives heading is. Don't worry if that doesn't make too much sense right now. You'll know what I mean as you progress through the course. And all of this information that I'm giving you now, it's in the study notes for this lesson. So you can refer back to it if you get stuck at any point. That's the first section of the PDFs. What's the second section? The second section are the activities. The activities are the section at the end of a PDF for a given lesson. What you'll notice in Module 1 is that most of the lessons don't have any activities that you need to do. They're really just laying some groundwork and trying to get you in the right headspace to then start Module 2, which has activities. And in Module 1, there's only one lesson that has activities, and that will be the lesson on goals and habits. The activities are the most crucial element of a lesson. Why are they the most crucial element of a lesson? They get you to apply what you've watched in the video lesson and read in the study notes. Ultimately, if you can't apply what you're learning, everything you do before that is really a waste of time. You are here to get better at English ATAR. And if you don't apply anything that you've learned here, you won't get better at English ATAR. It's as simple as that. The activities are the bridge from being here, where you are now with English ATAR, to being here, where you want to be in English ATAR. In terms of where you can find the activities in a PDF, they'll start at the activities objectives heading of the PDF and then just go down to the end of the document. You'll see what I mean once you encounter more activities in the following lessons. That is a written description of the various terms in the course, but I am a visual learner and I really need those visuals to help kind of consolidate the stuff that I've read. So what I'm going to do now is show you a visual representation of the stuff that we've just discussed. Starting with the platform. The platform is the overarching thing. It is where everything you get access to originates. Then, as we know, the platform has two kind of main parts. It has the community aspect and it has the course aspect. By this stage, we know the course is English ATAR Made Simple, and we know that English ATAR Made Simple uses my proprietary method, the PEAR. Then we also know that the PEAR comprises 3 stones, and each stone comprises at least one module. We also know that each module has lessons, and each lesson has a video element and the PDF element. It doesn't stop there. The PDFs, they also have 2 sections, as we've just discussed. The first section is the study notes section, and the second section is the activities section. Now that we're on the same page with that stuff, let's discuss some housekeeping matters. Starting with accessing the platform, and then we'll discuss organizing course resources. First up, accessing the platform. How should we do that? If you're going to be watching these lessons on your computer, this is what I recommend. Firstly, go to this link, then simply just drag the link into the bookmark section of your browser. This might sound so obvious that it goes without saying, but these 1%ers really add up over the long run. Depending on how you decide to do this course, you want to be able to access it easily and quickly. What about if you're accessing the platform on iPhone? Apologies, Android users. I certainly have a bias towards Apple products, and you'll probably start to learn that about me as we get to know each other a bit better. If you are accessing the platform on iPhone, this is what I recommend. Go to the same link that you would go to log in on your computer, then tap the share icon at the bottom of the screen, just this one here. Then scroll down and tap add to home screen. As we can see here, this little plus button. Next, change the name from login dash Saints Coaching to just Saints Coaching. Obviously, that's not an essential step, but I would do it. It'll just make your home screen look a bit cleaner. Finally, tap add in the top right hand corner of your iPhone. Once you do that, voila, it's on your home screen and you've just turned the platform into an app. That's how I suggest you access the platform. How about organizing course resources? Why even bother talking about this? Put simply, you can't use these resources if you can't find where they are. Considering that, here is a nice and easy way that you can access these resources at a moment's notice. Firstly, create a folder titled EAMS. Number 2, create 6 folders within the EAMS folder and title them M1, M2, M3, M4, M5, M6, obviously standing for Module 1, Module 2, and so on. Once you've done that, it should look something like this. This is literally a folder that I have on my laptop. Whenever I finish creating the resources, I'll drag the resources into their applicable folder. What I would suggest you do is when you start a new lesson, download the PDF, drag it from your downloads folder and drag it into the folder M1. That's what I would do for this lesson. Another hot tip, I would make sure that this EAMS folder is on the cloud, so it means you can access it across all of your devices. You never know when you'll want to use these materials that you've gotten access to, so having them on the cloud just means that you won't have to think about taking the right device with you. They'll just always be on you. Those are the housekeeping matters, nice and simple. Hopefully that makes things a little bit easier for you. Moving on, let's talk about the PEAR methodology. I don't know about you, but at least when I was in year 12, I felt like I was being bombarded with all of this information. But then when it came to assessment time in English, I had no idea how to actually use that information. That was me literally throughout the entirety of year 12. And then 1 month before my WACE exam, I had a light bulb moment and created the Pass English ATAR roadmap. The PEAR helped me go from 67% in my school mark to 76% in my WACE exam to 76.3% for my overall English ATAR score. And by the way, this is a screenshot of a snippet of my ATAR report. So at the end of this year, you'll be getting a report that has something similar. And yes, my middle name is Galton. Now that I think about it, 2 of my 3 names have strange pronunciation. Don't know what the old parents were thinking there, but that is the name. Don't wear it out. Anyway, the question that arises from me showing you this screenshot of my ATAR report and talking to you about this light bulb moment I had is, how did I increase my mark by roughly 10% in 1 month? In a nutshell, I embraced a growth mindset, set a goal, and implemented a habit to achieve it. Pardon the typo there. That's what you'll be doing in Module 1, the module that you're in now. Then I distilled and learned all the key concepts. That's what you'll be doing in Module 2. After that, I decoded the syllabus, which is also what you'll be doing in Module 2. Then I did a lot of practice writing, and you'll be doing that from Modules 3 to 6. It turns out that what your teachers are always telling you to do about practice writing is actually pretty on point. Go figure. This last part about practice writing might disgust you a lot, and I don't blame you. It sucks. But let me explain how practice writing can really help you, and hopefully that will make the idea of it a bit more bearable. The entire English ATAR course that you do throughout year 12 is based off 4 pages, and on those 4 pages are the syllabus points. These syllabus points are what SCARs use to create each and every WACE exam. If you answer enough practice questions that contain all the key concepts from the syllabus points, when exam time comes around, you'll get into that exam, see the questions, and feel like you've legitimately answered all of them before. At this point, you'll have a little chuckle in your seat before the exam starts, and you will feel unstoppable. What makes me so sure? Well, this is exactly what happened to me in my English ATAR exam. And countless students that I've tutored have told me the same thing happened to them when they got into their English ATAR WACE exam. It is a very good feeling. And that is why practice writing is key. All in all, the PEAR exists so you don't have to think about what to do when it comes to studying for English ATAR. Everything you need to know is in this course. If you do everything, you'll pass. It is that simple. I'm not saying you don't have to work for the result, but I am saying you don't need to worry about your result if you're willing to do the work. So that's the proof of concept for the pair. I use it in year 12. You saw the screenshot of my ATAR report. It speaks for itself. That's what happened in 1 month. I've tutored this method to around 30 students across 7 years. And for every student who actually does this work, they pass and they do so easily. What's the essence of the pair and why am I so sure it works? If I was to distill the entire approach that this whole course takes, it would be this. This is the pair methodology. Mastering an English ATAR exam means acing English ATAR. Lennox, what's the evidence behind this big claim? Why does the ability to master an English ATAR exam translate to being able to ace English ATAR? Let me break it down for you. As you probably know, your overall English ATAR score comprises two main marks. You've got your WACE exam mark, which is worth 50%, and then you've got your school mark, which is worth the other 50%. This is where things get interesting. As we can see here, your semester 1 exam and your mock exam typically comprises around 15% of that 50%. So both exams, each one is worth 7.5%, 7.5%. Combine them together to get roughly 15% of the 50% of your school mark. As we know, and unfortunately, those aren't the only assessments that you have to do in English ATAR. You do have other ones. The main other assessments that you have are in-class assessments based on one section of an English exam. As we can see on the slide, these in-class assessments constitute almost the majority of your overall school mark. Last but not least, we've got the other assessments, and they typically constitute about 10% of the 50% of your school mark. Everything you learn in this course will still help you a lot in those other assessments. They're just not based directly on an exam. The breakdown of your school-based mark might vary based on the course outline that you've got at school. So this is just an approximation, but in saying that, I've tutored students from a range of different schools across WA, and the numbers that you see here, the breakdown, 15% for exams, 25% for in-class assessments, and then 10% for the other assessments. That is the average across all the course outlines from all the different schools that I've tutored students from. Anyway, what is the point of me telling you all of this? Why do these numbers matter? They matter because they tell us that roughly 90% of your English score is determined by your ability to do an English exam or one section of an English exam. Put differently, by focusing on the exam, you're hitting several different birds with one stone. There really couldn't be a better example of this whole idea of studying smarter, not harder. And that's what I want you to be able to do. I know that you probably don't want to be studying for English. I understand that. So what I'm trying to do here is let you get the best bang for your buck. You come in here, you do a lesson, you do the activity, you know that it applies to what you'll be assessed on, and then you go off and do what you want to do with your life. Then you come back in a few days' time and you rinse and repeat, and you just keep doing that, knowing that you will pass and you will do really well. How to do English ATAR Made Simple. What is the overall process for completing the course? Pay attention to this, please. Complete the lessons in the order in which they are presented. I will come back to this a little bit later, and I will be saying it throughout the entire course. You will get sick of me saying it, but I don't care. I will continue saying it. That's the overall process for completing the course. As I said, I'll explain why I am really making a big deal of this. But what about the overall process for completing a lesson? First up, you're going to watch the video, and then you're going to answer the activities, if any. Not every lesson will have activities. This lesson doesn't have any activities, but most will. Just to make sure we're on the same page here, as we saw at the beginning of the lesson when we discussed the key terms of English ATAR Made Simple, we learnt that each lesson has two elements. It has the video lesson and it has the PDF. And then within the PDF, a PDF has two sections. It has the study notes and it has the activities. We can see here that we've got the video part and the activity part, but there's obviously the study notes part that's missing. You might be wondering, well, what should I do with the study notes? You should refer to the PDF study notes while you're watching the corresponding video lesson, while you're completing the activities for that lesson, and while you're revising for an upcoming assessment. That's the overall process for completing the course and then completing a lesson. What are some best practices for watching the video lessons? Another way to put this is, as I've created these video lessons, How did I intend for you to watch them so you can get in and out of here as quickly as possible and get the most value? What to do? Just watch the video. Don't do anything else. I'll discuss more about this shortly. Another best practice, ask the community. If you need clarification on anything that was discussed in a video lesson, just ask a question on the lessons forum page in the community. That's what to do. How about what not to do? If you have a question, please don't message me directly. No hard feelings. I like you. There is a reason behind why I'm asking you to do this. That reason is chances are that someone else has the exact same question that you do. And if you're just asking me, you're denying everyone else the answer to that question. And I guarantee you that there are other people who have that question and they really want the answer to it. One of my biggest philosophies in life is there is no such thing as a stupid question. Ask any student that I've tutored over the past 7 years. Every single one of them will tell you that I always say there is no such thing as a stupid question. And the reason why I believe that is because good questions lead to good outcomes. If you're not going to ask the questions and show that engagement, that interest, how are you going to learn, grow, evolve, move forward in life? So please do not be discouraged from asking a question in the community. No one will make fun of you for asking the question. And if they do, I'll just boot them from the platform. Another thing not to do, don't go on your phone while watching a video. Hear me out on this one. You won't absorb any of the content if you're doing anything on your phone while a video lesson is playing. If you want to go on your phone, simply just pause the video lesson, do whatever you want to do, go on TikTok, make a call, FaceTime your friend, whatever, and then come back to the video lesson when you're ready. I don't care if you go on your phone or not, just don't try and do two things at once because you're just going to be wasting your time. Remember, you're here to get better at English ATAR. If your attention is on your phone, it's not on the lesson and you won't actually learn anything. Another one, don't take notes while watching a video. This one might surprise you, fair enough. The reason behind this one is very similar to the whole don't go on your phone while watching a lesson. That reason is you won't properly engage with the video's content if you're too busy writing it down. This is the mistake that 99% of uni students make, including myself, and I didn't learn this until after I graduated. I've created these study notes so you don't have to. Everything worth noting in a video lesson is already noted in the study notes. Don't worry about missing any of the content. I promise you it will all be in the notes. Please just trust me on this one and focus as much as you can on the video lesson. Another one, don't read the study notes instead of watching the video lesson. You'll retain much more information if you use the study notes to complement the video lesson rather than replace the video lesson. Also, as an aside, if you skip video lessons, you won't be eligible for course certificates, which we'll discuss in a second, and you won't be able to level up on the platform. A final thing not to do, don't read the study notes before watching the video. Why? Well, you won't be engaged if you already know what's coming in the video. And then your brain won't think the information's important enough if you're not engaged. Hopefully, you've noticed a bit of a theme here, and that is engagement is very important. Think about the first time that you watched your favorite movie versus the second, third, fourth, 18th time. You're always going to be more engaged that first time because it's novel. You don't know what to expect. That is really why TikTok and Instagram, all the social media apps are so addictive because you actually never know what's coming when you go on there. It's exciting. I'm not saying that my content is going to be as exciting as what you see on TikTok and Instagram. What I am saying is that if you can try and preserve some of that novelty, some of that newness, it'll make your experience watching these video lessons better. Those are best practices for actually watching the video lessons, but how about best practices for answering the activities? Here's what to do. Firstly, type your answers to all the activities in Module 1 and Module 2. You've only got one activity in Module 1, and when you see that activity, you will understand why it makes more sense for it to be typed. As for the activities in Module 2, they represent all the study notes you need for the responding section of the exam. I'll discuss more about that at the beginning of Module 2, but for the time being, the main reason why it makes sense to type those notes is because you want to be able to have access to them, digital copies, so they can be on the cloud, on all your devices, and you're not going to lose them. As for completing the activities in modules 3, 4, 5, and 6, it's the opposite of what I suggested you do in module 1 and 2. You need to handwrite your answers to these activities. Why is this? Well, you must write instead of type your responses in an English ATAR exam. It's really as simple as that, but the specific reasons are you're sabotaging your exam performance by typing practice responses because, one, you're not training your hand muscles to write for sustained periods of time. It might sound silly, but I always remember finishing summer holidays going from year 9 to 10 or 10 to 11, 11 to 12. And that first day of term one, I have to write something. And I feel like I can't write more than 2 sentences without my hand starting to hurt. I'm sure you can relate to this feeling. That's because you haven't been using those muscles in your hands for the last 8 weeks. That is the last feeling you want when it comes to exam day. The other reasons why you're sabotaging your exam performance by typing practice responses instead of writing, the font size that you type in varies from the size that you handwrite in. And you can almost certainly type faster than you can handwrite. So if you can type faster and the font size varies, what you see on your screen, the practice response that you've typed, is not an accurate representation of what you're actually capable of producing on a piece of paper when you write it. What I'm trying to emphasize here is that handwriting your practice responses to the activities from modules 3 to 6 is the most effective way to prepare for an English exam. Once again, we are here to study smarter, not harder. If you type your practice responses, all you're doing is just making your life a lot harder when it comes to exam day. Another thing you should do with the activities, as I said for the video lessons, ask the community. If you need help completing an activity, ask a question on the lessons forum page in the community. What not to do? Surprise, surprise, don't type your answers to the activities in modules 3 to 6. Also, don't message me directly. Other members can undoubtedly benefit from the answer to your question, so don't deprive them of that answer by asking me directly. Put it on the forum page. Course certificates. Obviously, we're here to pass English, excel in English, but it doesn't hurt to have some other incentives along the way. There are 2 types of certificates that you can get in English ATAR Made Simple. The first one is the English ATAR Made Simple Gold Member Certificate. And the second one is the English ATAR Made Simple Platinum Member Certificate. What are all these about? Well, the English ATAR Made Simple Gold Member means that you'll receive an EAMS Gold Member Certificate and you'll elevate your status on the platform. How do you get this certificate? All you have to do is watch every lesson in the course. By the way, I've got data on whether you're watching the lessons in their entirety. No cheating. How about the Platinum Member? This means that you'll receive an EAMS Platinum Member Certificate and then reach the highest status on the platform. You will become the platform king or queen. How do you do that? Well, all you need to do is the same as the Gold Member. You just need to watch all the lessons in addition to completing all the activities to a satisfactory standard. What does satisfactory standard mean? How do you know if you've completed every activity to a satisfactory standard? There's no direct answer to that question, but the best way that I can answer it is I want you to put yourself in my shoes and ask yourself concerning any activity, has this student followed the activity's instructions and completed it to the best of their ability? If you think you're eligible for the Platinum Member Certificate and you send me your completed activities, imagine I'm looking through those activities and I see activities for a given lesson. Say that there were 5 steps for that lesson and I see that you have skipped step 3. To me, that's going to indicate that you haven't really taken the time to take that activity seriously. Coming back to the overarching purpose of why you're here, no one's forcing you to do this course. You're taking accountability for your own mark by trying to do better. And you can do better by doing these activities properly. Those are the 2 course certificates, and you'll get instructions on how to claim each certificate in the final lesson. We've discussed a lot. As we come to a close, I want to underscore the key takeaway from this lesson. If you can remember anything from everything that we have just discussed, it would be this. Complete the lessons in the order in which they are presented, please. I spent a lot of time figuring out how to sequence all the lessons in this course so you can see how all the content fits together in the easiest way possible. You'll be making your life a lot harder if you ignore that sequencing. Each lesson builds on the content from the lessons before it. Watching the lessons in any other order is like putting a roof on a house that has no walls yet. It just won't work. Build the walls before you put the roof on. By the way, what's this little asterisk for? Well, the only exception to this rule of completing the lessons in the order in which they're presented is Module 5. But don't worry about that now. I'll discuss more about that in Module 5's first lesson. For now, just complete the lessons in the order that you see them presented on the platform. All right, that is a wrap on this first lesson of English ATAR Made Simple. Congratulations on finishing it. Seriously, finishing this lesson means that you've taken the biggest step towards passing English ATAR. Well done. All you need to do now is continue following the path that you've just started walking on. I'll see you in the next lesson, which is going to give you a nice and clear overview of the course. Until then, keep it simple.